We stripped the whole bike down. As you can see, I took the existing, or the factory centrifugal clutch off, and we're going to try the belt-driven clutch, or torque converter they call them. Unfortunately, there's a few things you're going to have to do. Not that I wanted to. I have to cut my exhaust, I believe anyways. This whole thing has to go up an inch because the case rubs, I don't know if you see, right around there. And I didn't want, it has to come up, and I didn't want to cut the frame. So the cheapest thing I did was made a couple motor mounts. They are just 1-inch tube, square tube. Put in the saw, cut them off wherever you think you like. They come out to about 5 1/8 of an inch for me. They're going to sit underneath right here and in the back right there. So what I did was I took the piece, lifted the motor up, took the bolts out. The motor's just sitting there. I have it up on my sawmill right now. I'm building some rafters for a shed, and I was sick and tired of bending over. So what I did was I took this stock and I placed it where I thought it was supposed to be. I don't know if you can see down in the hole. And then I took my scoring tool, or pick, whatever you want to use, right here, and then I just went in the hole right there and traced it onto the metal so I could get the holes properly and centered and the same. So I scribed them, punched a hole, and drilled them. So we're on to the part right now of putting them in. I had to go dig through my drawer for bolts, because now you're going to have to raise the motor up. The bolts that come out of it are not long enough. There's the original ones, and you need to add another inch to that, plus the casing is probably, it's all metric, but it's at least 15/16 to an inch thick itself. So stay tuned. I'll put you on time lapse, and we're just going to work away here. It's raining, pouring here, so it's a good day to play with Big Booty Judy. I want to make her go like the breeze, and I guess this is the way to do it. So we're going to find out. Stay tuned. I figured they'd come in handy for something. Maybe a bracket down the road. Another thing, this is the original housing that the centrifugal clutch goes on. That's your jack shaft bearing. I went through one puddle maybe with it. A good tip is to take these off, these little plastics, take that little pick I showed you that I scribed the engine with, pull that off, they'll go back in, no problem guys, don't pick it and dig, just pull it off and get the pick behind it and it'll come right out. Wash that all out with WD-40, clean it, and that was full of rust, completely full of rust. As you can see right on the seal itself and the back side of the seal. So when that's all washed out, take your air nozzle, blow that all out, dry it all out, and repack that all with a good high temperature bearing grease, and it will last you twice as long. Okay, so we got those in the motor mounts, as you can see me fiddling with it around. It brings it up past for the clearance for the clutch to the base to not hit here. I painted them. It's up to you whether you want to paint them or not. I painted them. I'll touch up a few spots that still come off. I just didn't want them to rust. All right, other than that, let's find the base. The bracket right here, and let's see what we can get this to line up like. So that went good. I just put that on. Everything will be taken off again and Loctited, blue Loctite. So I ran into this little fella here. It clears now, but I doubt it'll clear with the cover. So instead of taking it off, I want to leave it. It's just a heat shroud. I could take it off, and sometimes it might hit back there on the bolt. So I'm gonna have to check for clearances there, because if this goes on, I don't want this plate to bend. So I might take a brass punch and just punch that in there just a little bit, but I also have to make sure for the bolt that's holding that on, if it's clearing the motor head on the back. So if it is, good. If it's not, I'll probably just end up taking that bolt out. Also, this motor is a 5/8 crankshaft, and the clutch, sorry, is a 3/4 inch shaft, so you're gonna have to get a sleeve. I ordered a collar. It's a 3/4 to 5/8 crankshaft adapter sleeve, so we'll be putting that on next. So I ran into a snafu. That's your spacers for your primary clutch. That adapter, it fits over your 5/8 shaft to make it turn it into a 3/4 shaft. And I've heard and read about this, that when you put your inside sheave on, it's tight, and it's tight, and it doesn't want to go in and slide on it. That should slide on smooth and slide off smooth with the keyway, which we're going to have to shorten probably 1/2 inch off that to get that on. So instead of buying the proper one, I believe Go Power Sports has it, or you can get them on Amazon. There's a really well built sleeve adapter for it. I cheaped out, and obviously I'm gonna have to either put it in the lathe, spin it with some sandpaper, or just take a little bit off it. So all right, so we machined that down. It fits really nice now, and the clutch will slide in and off that shaft now decently. So now we got to make sure is that we have the same clearance from this one, and this back piece are lined up, because if it's tipped out or tipped in, the belt's not going to run right. You're going to blow the belt all to pieces and tear it up. Okay, so I used the caliper, the back tail of it. I mean, it's as close as I could get to it, and what I did was I took the very edge of this and put it down to the very outer edge of that front sheave. This piece right here, the outside edge of that to that backing plate, and I got exactly three-quarters of an inch. So this back one is out so I got 750 thou there, and I got 850 thou, so we're 100 thou out. Exactly, almost. So I'm going to see if I can find another washer to put in behind this front clutch, just to bring it out. It didn't come with any washers. It came with a big spacer. It's close, but I'd like to get it spot on. So I found this piece right here, just stock tubing, which just out of luck. There's a spacer that I have, matches perfectly. Okay, so I'm going to tune this in to get exactly the clearance that I need. We'll just go make one over in the lathe. Okay, so I machined those bushings, just one I needed. I basically made it thick enough so it took up the space that I was missing. So I got 843 when I reset it up front, 843 thou, and I got 842 at the back. So I mean, it's super close. It's just within spec now. So basically all I did is, if you can see in there, is it's an aluminum spacer. Yes, I should have used steel. I didn't have a piece. If it wears out, I'll make a new one. I put it in between the two of them, sandwiched them, the face washers next to the sheave. The spacer we build in the lathe and is in between the black and this face right here. So let's try and get ahead some more. All right, well, we got the belt on, and the flat side of the belt, it's not like a snowmobile belt where both sides are V'd. The sheave right here is flat, so the flat side of the belt goes against that sheave, and as you can see in here, it's tapered on that end. We might have just hit the jackpot. I'm pretty excited right now. This pipe, with just a little bit of finesse, it's not as perfect as it was before, but it's within, no one would notice the difference, let's say. How about that? And it fit without me having to cut. So let's roll. Let's see if we can get this thing fired up, because I'm fired up. Big Booty Judy's ready to go like the breeze. Alright, we threw the chain on, so we're just going to make sure that it's the same distance on one side of the plate as it is on the back side of the pulley, and it is very, very, very close. So stay tuned. We're going to tighten up some motor mounts, and then we're going to adjust the shield and pray that Big Booty Judy's exhaust goes on with minimal effort. Let's roll.